in the snow of far-off lands, or the scorched desert of the Middle East, the Blue Diamond will fight in the air, land and sea, continue the legacy and the tradition of the old breed.
There's no difference between Marines today and Marines in 1775. There's not. The Marines are always Marines. E.B. Sledge, author of With the Old Breed, one of the greatest books written about Marines in combat, his quote, "You guys are just like us."
My first days in service, that would have been in 1986, back at MCRD San Diego, probably arriving, I guess, about 01 in the morning and scared as all heck.
The very first words out of the mouth of that drill instructor was, "You better give your soul to God because your ass belongs to me for the next 7 weeks." And that put all of us into a state of shock.
Boot camp? Oh, it was horrible.
It was a little bit of a shock, and I did get my fair share of shock treatment while in boot camp, but for the most part I enjoyed it. It's what I looked forward to, and it's what made me want to come into the Marine Corps initially.
First thing I remember, I just checked into OCS, and I knew what to expect. It was a rush, and I knew exactly that this was the right place for me to be.
I recall my first days in service being pretty intense, especially when I checked into the fleet. I was with 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines at the time.
Came right here to Camp Pendleton after boot camp, and it was ITR, which is SOI now, School of Infantry. It was Infantry Training Regiment back then. Same though.
Everywhere I've checked into, whether it be SOI or with 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, no matter where I've gone, whether it be Viper or Afghanistan, everywhere I've gone has been unforgettable.
When I first got to Afghanistan, I knew somewhat what to expect. You know, we got briefs, thorough briefs on the enemy themselves, their way of thinking, their SOPs, but you never really know for sure what to expect until it really happens.
The crew chiefs on both sides racked the 50 cal guns to get them locked and loaded and ready to go. And it got to me at that moment that, oh, here we go. We're in a combat zone and combat theater from this point forward.
I'm looking at these guys, and they all look like the median age was about 45, even though I knew that they were only 18 or 19 years old. The looks on their faces were so distant, so blank.
I won't say that getting shot at is really scary. It's just like, wow, you expected so much more. But then you think to yourself for a minute, yeah, that could have hit me. Then you just keep on going. Then you get that little adrenaline rush, and it gets very exciting, and then it just stops and you're bored.
Boredom was the main thing. That when you were in combat that long, but maybe a month or so, and then boredom after that, and just nothing to do, just sit around.
The downtime, it was such a, I guess, a roller coaster of emotions. You know, you're happy, joking around 1 minute, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose.
You played cards. You joined everybody else having fun, whatever you could do, conversation. Try to keep the coconuts from falling on your head, and the rats out of your sack.
It was always pretty dirty. We were always in the bunkers, always in the ground, in the dirt. For us, it was filthy. There were no showers. There were nothing like that.
And really, we had to live off the land. It was real hard to get water resupply, child resupply. We had to use some of our guys from the backwoods, you know, to cook food, live off the land, purify our own water, and it worked out. It worked out pretty good.
You're sleeping on a dirt floor and living in a very small patrol base with your platoon, and I mean, as rough as it was the best time in the world because you're there with your guys. You're there with your brothers. You're doing what you joined the Marine Corps to do.
We were all in the same boat, watching out for each other, you know. You come, even like the Marines today, you know, it's that camaraderie, you know, that makes you feel safe. That guy in the hole next to you, knowing that he's going to be there for you, that you can trust him.
counting on each other is going to pull you through. No matter if you hate that person or not, they might bring something to the fight that's going to save your life. You know, set your differences aside, accomplish a mission, and come home. That's all you got to do.
Having just returned from Afghanistan, I must tell you how very proud I am of watching the Marines in Marja. Now, Marja was a fight which really surprised the Taliban insurgents, and today you would see the accomplishments of the Marines in Marja by the bazaars that are open. Many terrorists have lost their lives, and the local mullahs, the religious leaders, the local elders of Sangin are now turning to the Marines and, in fact, assisting them in some of the areas that terrorists have traditionally ruled the community.
Every element of the division over this past year has now deployed into OEF and is either still there or has recently returned. And over the past year, that's very significant because as many times as elements of the division have deployed into combat over the last 70 years, the entire division has not been represented in a same combat theater at the same time, except for a handful of times. So this was a historic occasion for us to go forward as a division and fight in Afghanistan.
You know, win the hearts and minds, explain to them that we're there to help them. You know, we're not there to take over their country, run things the way we want to run it. We had to explain to them. We really had to conduct a lot of key leader engagements, talk to the local populace to explain why we're there.
Initially, we were assigned to do counterinsurgency operations. You know, being involved with the Delaram Bazaar and in Bakwa, doing wheat seed distribution, influencing local populace, getting the economy going, security, training of the Afghan army, and this kind of thing. And then ended up kind of working our way from west across the desert to east and eventually crossing the Helmand River into Sangin and being involved in pretty significant combat operations.
There was a lot more going on, a much higher threat of ambushes, small arms fire, RPGs, mortars, IEDs.
I can't think of a day where we weren't in a firefight or something wasn't going on, but we were good. We were better than good. Fortunately for us, we had a learning curve. We were able to find IEDs better than anybody else. We were much more accurate than anybody else. It was, I guess, a strange type of camaraderie.
We had those small moments where a bunch of us were able to sit back and laugh and enjoy the small things in life. It's like someone is doing something crazy throughout the day, or working with the Afghan National Army and watching them how they work and just working together as a team.
As we enter 2011, the 1st Marine Division will continue to make progress and changes. And as new tools are introduced to 1st Marine Division and changes take place in the way we fight, it will never change the spirit in which we fight.
So what we plan to do over the next year is continue the success that I've seen in combat, the success I've seen with the communities back home, the success and true hard training. Trust me, our young Marines today are as tough as nails, and we're going to continue to train and prepare for combat, counterinsurgency operations, and those operations, whether they're humanitarian or kinetic, meaning combat related, we'll continue to prepare and be ready to answer America's call, because we, the Marines, are the 911 force of America.
But the most surprising experience that I've been witness to within the division is the amount of small unit pride that takes place within such a large organization.
Because the things that the men of the old breed have done, they've set the standard for our generation of Marine to live up to. And it's our job to carry on the colors in a fight for them, because they did it for us first, so it's our turn.
It's all about heart. You got the heart, you know, you can be a Marine. 1st Marine Division has a huge history, great things that 1st Marine Division has accomplished, and being part of it, you gotta push forward, you know, continue the legacy.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of being a Marine, but I'm very, very proud of being in the 1st Division.
Every member of 1st Marine Division puffs up their chests and stands a little taller when they see the blue diamond patch, or they state what unit they belong to within 1st Marine Division, because they're part of that blue diamond history.
I can't imagine being in any other division, nor was I. I was always in the 1st Marine Division, so naturally that's where my heart is.
I'm proud to be part of the best. 1st Marine Division is the best. It's nice.
It's a sense of honor, and I feel real fortunate to be a member of the 1st Marine Division, absolutely.
And I was proud to be within, and every time I got back to the 1st Marine Division, it was a good feeling.
Had a very proud heritage, and I was proud to be with the 1st Marine Division.
For our veterans, for our families, your Marines are well equipped. Your Marines are, in fact, the greatest generation of today. They learned that through the legacy set by our veterans. They're so strong, you would be so proud of the Marines forward deployed, of the Marines undergoing training, of the sailors right beside them in combat, and of course, our families. We are winning the battle, and we will win the battle beside our Afghan partners. Just as we won Fallujah beside our Iraqi partners, we will in fact continue to win in Afghanistan in the provinces of Nimruz and Helmand. There's so many things to be proud of, but again, our greatest generation today lives the example and the legacy set by our veterans of the past. Thank you.
To the members of the 1st Marine Division Association who celebrate the 70th anniversary with us here on Camp Pendleton this year, I would offer to each one of you that the 1st Marine Division is committed to remembering and honoring our traditions that you've set forth for us. You've blazed a path for us to move forward into the next decade, and we will do